Ladies and gentlemen and NB friends, welcome back once again to Talkōbon. It is another beautiful morning. I am sitting in my office thinking, what am I talking about? I'm just talking about manga that I like. And let me tell you, let's start talking about some stuff that I don't like. Let's start talking about some of the stuff I don't like, shall we? Let's start talking about stuff that makes me a little mad. Makes me a little annoyed. Today's topic is something that I know some people are going to be very, very mad about how I talk about this one. And they are 100%, everyone is valid to have their own feelings about every show or manga that I talk about. But this one in particular, I need to get this off my chest. Today we're talking about World Trigger. Today's topic is World Trigger. And I have a lot of things to say about it. But first, we're going to say some words about my sponsor. Hey y'all, I know there's something in this economy that you guys could need, and that is some free cash. Doesn't that sound great? Free cash sounds like a great idea. Freecash.com is a site you can sign up for and literally do things that you would probably normally do and get paid for it. Are you one of those people that sits down and takes surveys from BuzzFeed that tells you literally nothing about yourself, but you still click the questions anyway? What if they paid you to do that? That's right, you can get paid to do surveys on Free Cash. Are you a mobile gamer? You don't have to answer that question. If so, Free Cash will literally pay you to play games. It's incredibly easy. Once you reach a certain limit, you can cash out from multiple websites, including Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam. You can also withdraw money for things like V-Bucks and Roblox dollars. I don't even know what those are actually called because I don't play that game. But most importantly for me, things like CSGO, League of Legends, and Valorant also have withdraw options. So you best believe I'm doing that to get some skins in Valo. And if you'd like to get started today, you can go to freecash.com/r/BaronJ. That's right, freecash.com/r/BaronJ and get started earning money for the things you already do today. All right, everybody, World Trigger. World Trigger. Okay, so World Trigger is done by Daisuke Ashihara. Didn't do a whole lot of other stuff. Was known for doing something called Super Dog Ridiantaru. I don't even know. Not a whole lot about that to be said. World Trigger is the thing he's known for. World Trigger has a lot of potential that I find slightly wasted. And we'll talk about that later. But first, let's talk about the plot of it and what it is. World Trigger is set in a place called Mikado City. One day, a magical gate appears, and monsters come out of this gate that people start calling neighbors. They start to try to take over. An organization comes out of nowhere, is actually able to kill these things, and they are called Border most of the time, and has sort of reverse engineered Area 51 style the technology that they have called triggers, which allows them to channel the energy called Trion and use it as a weapon. But the main plot of World Trigger takes place after the initial invasion. One day, a white-haired student named Yuma Kuga transfers to the main school of the story. He meets a guy named Osamu Mikumo, who is in training to work at Border, and it's not really a spoiler. You find out within the first few chapters that Kuga is actually a neighbor who has come to do something, and Osamu has to protect him from Border or something. I don't know. So let's talk about the actual art and stuff before I go into the plot, and you'll realize quickly why I do not like it. The art of World Trigger is actually fascinating. It has a very uniform style, very interesting framing. The action is done well. There are a lot of very unique facial expressions. The design of Border and the town and the uniforms and stuff like that, very nicely done. The designs of the neighbors themselves, also very cool. The weapons are interestingly well thought out. That is to say, the first part of the manga is well done. it is your standard shonen fare. There is a quest for them to go on. They have to go over to where the neighbors come from and find out about stuff over there. There is a incredibly wide cast of characters, and we'll get into that later. They are sort of unique in a lot of ways. The story itself is quite unique in a lot of ways, up until a certain point. The world building and the technicality of how this place is made is really cool. The designs of everything are just uniformly pretty well done. I think that's the thing that I want to get at overall, is there's a lot of thought put into this world and how it works. The world building is nutballs insane. Everything down to even the mechanics of the weapons has thought put into it. But that's not why I dislike it. Some of the nicer things that I do have to say about it, like I said, the world building is fine. The release of information from the series itself is really good. It doesn't info dump you. It's very, what's the word? I guess it's organic, the way you learn most of the things about it. There are very, very compelling story arcs. It does feel like there are actual stakes to the story, which is very nice. The way that Border is shown to work as an organization is really unique, because what you get is a story of the ins and outs of a military organization, how they function, how things are distributed, how missions are undertaken, and it's really cool. However, I have to talk about one of the overarching problems that I have with this series. There are large swatches of this story that are tournament arc-y, kind of mock mission stuff that go on for way too long. Way too long. There is a rank game that happens during like chapters, it's like 70 through 80. Not even that. I think it starts at like 50. They're very oddly placed. Like back in chapter 50 through 60, they're like in a battle for the city and everything's going really, really well. And then all of a sudden we go into this rank wars. There's stakes on like interpersonal games, and this is all training, but we're all fighting each other and we're finding out who is in what rank and stuff like that. And it's like, okay, that's fine. That's all fine and dandy. And then that goes on for like 20 chapters. I'm not even kidding. We go from that chapter into the next 30 chapters are just a bunch of characters that pop up. They're all soldiers in this army, and they're all training and fighting and learning from each other. And it's like, that's great as its own thing, but we just got out of an arc where literally they were at war with these aliens, and all of a sudden they're just in a training arc. And that continues for probably about 40 or so chapters. It goes on for a long time, and then all of a sudden they're invading again. And we go back to the dynamic of, okay, aliens are back. That's a thing. I'll tell you where they are in the manga right now. Where they are in the manga right now is they are about to go over to the other side where the neighbors are from. They're about to go there. And where the author has decided to take this, I think, is one of the weirdest things. They're doing sort of a mock mission in the manga where they are paired up with 5 other individuals. All the soldiers that you've met in the earlier training arcs are all mixed up, and they're essentially doing esports in a closed off environment with each other, where they're doing these little mock battles, and a lot of the assets are all reused. The faces are all the same, and this has been going on. By the way, this is not released on a week-by-week basis. If I am not mistaken, oh man, no, I'm looking right at it. So we begin with the away mission test part 1, and we are on away mission test part 28. No, I'm sorry, we're on 34 now. Let me tell you, this is not a series that is released on a weekly basis. This is a series that is released on a monthly basis. And for the past, I'm not even kidding, for the past 2 years, They have been doing this esports closed off environment. It has nothing to do with the main plot other than the fact that they're like preparing to go on the mission. It feels like something that could have been covered in 2 chapters. It's all hyper reused assets. They're using all of the same faces. It's showing like a GUI of all of these people. They're just sitting at laptops playing esports, and that's been happening in this manga for 2 years of not in the manga. It's been 2 years of them doing that. 2 years of real life Earth time. They have been doing this for 2 years. And again, it has nothing to do with the main plot. I don't know how this author is getting away with this. It is absurd. Imagine, if you will, Dragon Ball Z. They go to the hyperbolic time chamber, and instead of what happens in there, oh, we came out, it's been 3 years in the hyperbolic time chamber. Instead, it was just 60 chapters of them doing that. Just every day, Goku and Vegeta fighting, Goku and Gohan training. And it's like, well, today I'm going to teach you how to punch left. And like, that's the manga right now, except it releases on a monthly basis. That is the torture you have to go through reading World Trigger. I stopped about 6 months ago. How many chapters have I read? Oh no, actually, I'm caught up. Excuse me. I am caught up. Last month I stopped reading it. Excuse me. It is just the most frustrating thing in the world to see a story that has so much potential degrade into this literal nonsense. It has nothing to do with the main story. It really seems like the author is phoning it in, just dragging it out because he has no idea where to take it next. And that might not be the case. He might have a great grand plan. It's like, oh yeah, no, after this, we're going into great stuff. But for the past 2 years to just have where the manga is right now, it is so goddamn frustrating to read. Not even that too. It's like the cliffhangers that some of the chapters in the recent stuff end on are like barely cliffhangers. It'll just like end on one girl being like, yeah, I just don't feel like doing anything today. And it's like, well, yeah, I don't feel like reading this. I feel you. I don't feel like going in today. But this is escapism. I'm not here to hear about how you don't want to be here today. I'm here to see about how you kill aliens. I don't know. It's just, the whole thing has left a very bad taste in my mouth. So honestly, if you want to read World Trigger, read everything else on your list first. That is my wholehearted, honest recommendation, because I cannot say that you should read this manga. I cannot. And on that note, ladies and gentlemen, and NB friends, thank you for stopping by my manga corner. If you would like to check out our sponsor, please, once again, do so. Thanks, y'all. Bye-bye.